welcome to episode 3 of the Borondy Group podcast, Behind Closed Doors. I'm joined again by friend and colleague, Stephanie Amendolia. Hey, Steph.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again.
Awesome. And our guest of honor, you may have seen him on the Guest Life podcast, Dan Guest, owner of Guest Heating and Plumbing, all-around good guy. Dan, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. We feel a little warmed up. We've been chatting here for a little bit, so we've got to know Dan a little bit, but we're going to get into all things heating, plumbing, air conditioning, just for the homeowner side of things, but also Dan is a really good entrepreneur. So for all the small business people out there listening, we hope to give you some life tips, business tips, and a little humor along the way. So
I have a couple.
Now, I first was introduced to Dan through my brother, Johnny, who I think Dan is a big fan of.
He's the best.
As well as my cousins who own Breakaway Distributors down in Hamilton on Barton Street, who actually, you had Frank on your podcast for one of the episodes, which was great. And that was one thing they always said about Dan was from the get-go when he started, he came in and branded everything. And he was doing good quality, expensive stuff when he just started, which I think a lot of new people kind of go the cheaper route. You made yourself look like an established business.
He's doing merch before merch
right
was cool.
outside the door, which I think was a huge step for you. So Dan, I just wanted you to give us kind of the quick and dirty, like how did you get into the business? Where are you at now, and how is it going?
Yeah, that's a lot.
What did you do? Where did you come from? How did you start? Go.
Yeah, no, we started Guest Plumbing and Heating about 6 years ago. So just myself in a van. Which was an exciting adventure. I'd been plumbing for about 7 years and didn't really want to be on my own, and then made a decision because I got pushed into it. So I called these people unicorns. We'll talk about that later. But I got pushed into it with a great opportunity and kind of took it by the balls and ran with it. The one thing I took from when you get into Frank the Tank down at Breakaway Distributing and Johnny was kind of connecting the services with brand awareness. As well as community involvement and stuff like that. But kind of my motto was like, how do I make plumbing sexy?
Yeah.
It's not a sexy trade, but we've kind of created that, that imagination of how do we incorporate being involved in the community as well as like brand awareness. So it all started with the logo. So, took some really, deep time in terms of talking about a logo. My mom's maiden name's Eisenberg, so we were not going to call it Eisenberg Plumbing. So I was fortunate enough that my father's last name was Guest.
It just flows.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
So we took it.
That's going to be his new tagline. Guest Plumbing, it just flows.
Yeah. I think it's taken before.
I'm sure.
Yeah. We took it. I took the Apple concept. Yeah. So, we are growing now. We offer, HVAC services now. So as we grow, we always wanted to be able to drop plumbing and heating. Mm-hmm. So Guest with a logo. So kind of I took the Apple approach, which is what is Apple? So now it's a phone company, it's a networking company, it's a computer company, it's a software company, Apple Podcasts, there's all these different things. So when you think of what is Apple, it's more of a feeling than a brand. So that's kind of, again, unsexy plumbing company. How do we make it sexy? That's kind of the standpoint of it. And then it kind of elaborates and allows the growth. I found, when doing a lot of research, a lot of companies I found pigeonhole themselves, which it wasn't a comparison, it was just an identification of like, don't pigeonhole yourself to being this small.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Being a big brand doesn't mean, you can't call yourself Hamilton something. Yeah. But what I wanted to do is take away, like, what if this is international? Mm-hmm. What if we are, Canada-wide? If I'm called, Hamilton Plumbers, probably not going to flow, right? So we wanted to make a brand and a logo that we could kind of scale with. And, your brother Johnny actually took our logo from digital to print, which I highly...
You hated it at first
I hated
or something?
It. Well, no, it was great, but it was...
You tweaked it.
Yeah, it was a work in progress. So we changed it a couple different times, and we still change it now that we've got the next brand. But any advice I could give to somebody is make sure that it's transferable.
Yeah.
Whether it's digital, whether it's print, whether it's stitching, embroidery, it's very important that people can make out your logo from any angle. So our big thing is the blue leaf on a van. Looks sexy. White van, not a teal van, not a black van. on a white van.
It really pops, and I would say, like, just hearing you talk about it, you really did. You set yourself up for expanding right from the beginning. Like, that was your whole mentality of it. And it's true, those vans, you can spot them anywhere. And I remember being downtown, like King William area, and you got a nice contract with, was it Urban Core?
Core Urban, yeah.
Core Urban. And I remember seeing like your signs everywhere, and I was like, this is this guy that my brother, like, he's doing all his shirts and things like that for it. And it was sexy seeing a plumber that you were actually like, ooh, that looks like a posh plumber.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're creating that brand awareness, and like, I love that you, like you said, you thought bigger. Like, you're right, people think they want to start out so small, but like, who cares if you never get there? At least set yourself up to be bigger than you think you can be.
Yeah, and it's just a little bit of thought process, right? Like, if you Google, like, I literally Googled plumbing logos, and it was the same thing, red and black, cartoon guy with a pipe wrench. Like, it was very symmetrical. But then you go onto 95% of the websites, and you look at it, and you could literally pick it from Google what their logo is and how they kind of adapted it. Again, nothing wrong with that, and we get you talk about the stigma, but I'm sure people talk about us, and we kind of go overboard in some areas, or people think we're too much, too expensive. But if that's if the brand thinks that you guys are too good, I'm okay with that, rather than like,
It's true.
a white unmarked van, and that guy has a purpose, and that person has a client, but that's not us.
Now, I want you to tap into your experience and kind of get into that nitty-gritty of the actual plumbing stuff right now. Talk about updates. Like, what are you seeing in people doing now? What are the new hot items that people want in their homes? Or what are things that people aren't doing that you think that they should be doing?
Yeah, kitchen and bath. You go down to real estate and you want to talk about resale value, whether it's a refinance or a sale. Kitchen and bath is just a great part of the home to be able to update. It's cost effective because you're going to see a return. So most expensive thing usually, but also best payback. So we're finding that's a huge thing that people are updating. Kind of getting into, like, putting in a pot filler. Or, we do digital showers now, which not a lot of people know about, but
digital showers?
Yeah.
Elaborate a little bit.
So it's just a digital setting in your shower, which normally you get, the hand crank.
Yeah.
This is just a digital box that goes in your wall. It's actually much easier to service. And then, on the shower, you just see a nice little screen pop up.
And is that, for all those people that have a walk-in shower, turning the knob, you're cold when you're waiting for the water to heat up. Now you can do it from the exterior?
You can do it from the exterior. You can put this thing anywhere. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And the big thing for us is education. How do we educate our clients, like you guys, to know that exists? So we find that there's a little bit of a lag with, again, making plumbing sexy. So we're finding that social media, impact, you can really kind of showcase different things that you do without people noticing.
I think I've noticed that as well on your Instagram. You're very good at showcasing, maybe when you've gone to events or things like that, or you're doing work at people's homes, you're showing things that people are doing, and it might be these modern aspects that people didn't really consider. And they're like, bathroom, you spend the majority of your time in your bathroom. And people know that, bathrooms and kitchens hold a lot of value for resale, but make it beautiful. Choose an elaborate tile, choose cool fixtures, like things like that are really gonna, like, I don't know, pop in your home. A bathroom is a great place.
You spend
a lot of time.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time there, and like, the big thing is, working with people's budgets is really important too, right? And getting the most value for your money. Not everybody has the money to spend on some of these things, but what we find is they're not even asking the question. So, it's our job and our purpose to educate our clients and our team as well, to let them know what's out there and the right approach. We say we're not salesmen, we're educators.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not trying to sell you on this. If you don't need it, you don't want it, that's fine. But here's the education piece of this exists. This is a good opportunity. This is a good idea. This is a good plan. This is why. And then let the client kind of make the decision.
That's great. I think that also sets you apart from other plumbing companies as well, because I don't know a lot of them that actually do that offer that, educational purposes.
Yeah. Like, there's tons of plumbing to do, right? Like, if we can get the clients that enjoy our services, use our recommendations and kind of build that trust. We always talk about trust being earned, but at the same time, like, you're going in from these renovation shows and people are, they got all these crazy ideas. It's like, all right, let's fine tune that and let's educate you on, maybe it's more important to spend some money behind the walls than in front of them, because some of the systems aren't good, and this is why. So this is your, you might not want to change all the rough ends behind the wall because they're old cast iron, they're old copper, but here's the outcome if you don't.
Yeah.
It's hard to get people to spend money on the non-pretty things. Like we do it in home inspections all the time. And you see your cast, sewer lines, and you can see your plumbing outdated or upgrading your water supply, like all that stuff. It's money. Like, yeah, but I want to do a great range shower head. I'm like, yeah, but the function of your home is these nuts and bolts that, like you said, it can cost a lot of money. It can cost not a lot of money, but they just, whatever they do have, it's hard to get them to spend it on the longevity, right?
Yeah,
of
and
their home.
It's just the right education piece, right? Like giving them a little bit of back history, to supporting them along the process, to be like, hey, this is why this looks like this, and then giving them some support pieces so they know you're, not full of shit.
No, that's really good. And I love that. I love that whole education piece, because that's like, as a company, we stand by that. That's our knowledgeable consumer is our best customer, right? So I think when they come to you with information, even like you said, they don't know the questions to ask, because if you're looking for plumbing fixtures, you'd have to go into Google and know what you're looking for. I wouldn't know to look for a digital shower.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I'm like steam showers. Okay, I get it. You can do music and all that kind of stuff, right?
But a digital, or I'm even seeing similar to that, how I was saying, like walking into the shower, it's cold at first. You're waiting for the people are now moving the handle right towards the door so that you don't have to go in. I just saw that recently on a new build in Burlington.
But you don't know. So if Dan's exposing this stuff via, like you said, Instagram, you're creating those conversations. You're actually you're doing that sales pitch in an informational way. Like here's what's available to you. Come to me and ask me about how to do this.
Yeah, and it's about what's in people's budgets. Like, putting the valves on the other side of the wall. We've been doing that for years. Not every plumber knows how to do that, or
that's a good point. Or is it more work to do something like that?
Yeah, for sure it is. Yeah.
And so maybe a lot of people say, like, we're going to stick to what we know, stick to the basics, but you're only ever going to expand if you're changing the way you're doing business and things like that.
Yeah, just the classic, and you want to get into entrepreneurship, but we've been doing this for years. It's like, okay, that's a problem, right?
We need to change it up a little bit.
We have electric cars now, so is this okay? Right? So let's change what we've been doing for years and let's try something new. And I mean, we disrupted the shit out of the market when we opened up because we were doing something different, and there was a lot of negativity towards it in some aspects. But we pushed through that, and now we're a brand that people know, and I would like to say
trust
love
and call on. Absolutely.
And I think with COVID, it's everybody being home. Like, has that increased your business? You find like all these home renovations. Like, has that had an impact at all?
It's increased awareness. It definitely has an increased business. That being said, I think we've set ourselves up a lot. Like, getting off the business thing and talk about entrepreneurship. COVID's been great. It's been a time to reset. It's been us working on some things that we haven't been able to. Anybody that started a new business, there's always that back burner stuff that's actually most of the time more important than the day to day. So it really gave us some opportunity to kind of attack those things. But in terms of business, it's definitely slowed down. We're a business that's in and out of people's homes all the time. People being home, it's kind of increased it on that sense, but the amount of people that are scared to have us in, or don't want to take those calls because financially they're not well, it's definitely slowed down from that side. But in the office and our administrative side, booming. So we're just doing a lot of things to kind of counterbalance that and work on, like, we know as soon as COVID kind of frees up, it's going to be hitting the ground running. So we're working on that. So it's really exciting.
Now, would you say there's anything that you can pull out from, like you said, you've learned a lot during COVID, like that you could pull out to help other small business owners, kind of either if they're just starting out or if they're already in the business?
Tons. Where do you begin?
Where do you? No,
probably I got back to all those emails that I was supposed to.
Well, we did the same thing too, right? We had to, like, the back end, because you run when the business is there, because that's the dollars. The stuff at the back end, it doesn't necessarily make you any money, but I think it makes the client experience better. So we had to focus on all of those systems and putting those things in place to make sure, like you said, when the doors open again, that we do go out and everything's a little bit more organized.
Yeah, for sure. I think you don't notice the little things making such an impact. Craig Spears, who used to own Momentum Fitness, actually, we were having a Zoom meeting once, and I was like, man, there's just a lot going on, and we had a 1 hour chat. I was like, this is a lot. We got COVID, business, all this stuff. And like we're back and forth challenging each other and always pushing. It's not a it's not a pity party. And at the end of it, he goes, Dan, you said that this is a lot enough times. He asked me, is it a lot? Could you handle more? And I was like, oh, damn it. I was like, you had to go there. So, you know, and it's nice to get those challenges because sometimes you feel overwhelmed or you feel kind of under the gun. And then you just ask yourself, okay, I've gotten out of COVID, I'm running a business, I'm taking care of my staff, I'm building, you know, whatever you're building at the time, can you handle more? And that's a nice thing to kind of identify where it's like, it kind of puts things in perspective. You're gonna handle as much as you feel like you can. And you're gonna handle everything that comes to you. That overwhelming feeling is normal. We talk calm within the chaos.
Yeah.
So, yeah, throughout COVID, it's been phenomenal. It's been the best years of my life, for all the different reasons. Even connecting with friends, like you connect more because you don't see them.
Yeah. Value the time that we had a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going to restaurants the last little bit now that they're open, and like, yeah, those dinners have been the best dinners of the year.
Because I didn't have to make it. That's great. And I'm a great cook, but like just to have somebody else, it's like, why? Every time we eat dinner at home, you're convincing yourself in COVID, I don't know why we went out. I cook so good at home, and then you go out and you're like, oh yeah, because you get to sit here and let someone else take care of it for you.
Food just tastes so much better when somebody else makes it, I find.
Yeah, it's lovely. And the dishes are lighter.
Are they? I feel like I eat more when I go out because I'm like, I'll have one of this, one of that.
No, you don't have to pick them up and move them.
Oh, the dishes themselves.
Yeah.
Physically lighter.
Oh my gosh.
So like, was that, that whole quest for more thing, like, could you handle more? Is that how you decided to like pivot and go and adapt the HVAC thing? Like, was that consumer driven or was that just like, I could do more?
No, it's the same thing. We launched guest heating and air conditioning this year, which has been awesome. I've launched three other businesses this year, which has been like just a fantastic thing. And you just dive in and talk about like multitasking.
Yeah.
So like there's a misconception that I didn't know until really diving into personal growth, which is multitasking is not ideal. Doing two things at the same time is not efficient. Doing two things in sequence makes sense, right? If you want to kind of get to a further path. The other thing is that entrepreneurial, like, you know, always shiny object you're chasing.
Yeah.
So I got caught in that trap a little while ago and just was always, you know, new invention, you know, whether it was an app or a website or, you know, I was at one point going to open a salad bar and like, you know, and then I was like, okay,
the logo works.
It goes everywhere. The name goes everywhere.
The leaf was there. Yeah. So we launched guest heating and air conditioning this year, and one of the things that's been amazing is just building that team. Building a team is the most rewarding thing I've ever been able to do. Building a team that, you know, creates passion and creates energy is just by far like. If you told me that 5 years ago, I would have called you a liar. I didn't imagine it being so rewarding.
Fulfilling, yeah.
Yeah, because you're dealing with different personalities and you're understanding management styles.
Yeah.
And how you like to get managed might not be how others like to get managed. And it's challenging because it's always adapting, but it's awesome.
I think that was something we kind of touched about before when we started. We were talking about Borondy group, teams, and things like that. And do you find, you just said like it's great creating a new team, like what do you find you look for? Do you look for like-minded people of yourself, or is it you want that kind of entrepreneurial background for some of your teammates? Like what are you looking for?
Yeah, you know what, like I think the imposter syndrome is a good question when it comes to like when you're the leader of a team, you think, why can't someone else just go and do that? You know, and like, you know, well, if I get a bunch of entrepreneurs, they're just going to leave. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, it's a huge mental challenge, but then you realize like things will happen and you'll realize why it's you doing it and not somebody else. And the other thing is like a team isn't about a bunch of number ones.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. People love to be leaders, and I think giving them the freedom and having, like, letting them be an entrepreneur, or we'd call them number twos, let them be an entrepreneur within an entrepreneurial kind of organization is fantastic. And just giving people value without their time, we find is awesome. So we always say, like, you know, find attitude and train skill, which is our like number one go-to.
Absolutely. Like we can't, in our business too, like you can't teach somebody, and maybe you can talk about motivation, but I can't teach somebody to be motivated. I can't teach them to want these things for themselves. Like we always sit down and we talk about goals and goal setting and vision and where do you want to see, like, so as a team leader, I find it difficult when I see a personality that they're just not interested in doing better, doing more. I can give you the skills. I can train you to do anything. You can speak to anybody. You can have every script in the book. But if you don't want to be successful, I can't give that to you.
Internal drive,
so that's, you're right. Like, I look for the personality. I want somebody that's going to go out and get up every day and wants to work and wants to be better, and everything else we can fix.
Yeah.
More or less, right?
Yeah, like that's the most important thing. And I think, like you said, like, you're a cohesive team. You want to make sure everybody's working together, and especially it's your name, it's Guest Plumbing. You want to make sure those people are a representation of yourself as well when they're out there, if they're meeting clients or if they're meeting contractors and things like that, right? It all has to kind of work well together.
Yeah, people call it drinking my juice. And it's bad. Like, they've been just because my team gets it. We have certain things that we always do that I instill in them, and the big thing is, like, the challenge as a leader of leaders. So I always talk about this a lot, like, and I'm very transparent with my team and talk about, like, guys, if I'm not creating new opportunities for you, I expect you to leave. And that's kind of like from a leader standpoint, like. If you want to be like, I want to build this big team and I want to kick ass and I want to make a bunch of money, cool, man. Like, that's great. What are you doing to make your number two in your position? And then where are you going next? So that's what my drive is on a daily basis. I think of how can I be replaced from an owner's position, right? How can my day-to-day get removed and get my number two to do that? He's going to make a bigger salary. He's going to have more responsibility if he wants it, he or she. We have some phenomenal, females in our organization that are very, very driven. And so we look at, like, okay, challenge accepted by me, but what does that make me? What does my day look like? And I think that's a huge thing that some entrepreneurs get frustrated with, and the reason I say that is because I always ask them, what's your biggest challenge? And I said, finding good people. And I said, okay, well, how much time do you spend finding good people? Usually it's fuck all. So it's like, okay, so your biggest challenge that's going to make you the most money, which is going to give you more opportunity, you're spending zero time on. Like, thanks, bye. Right?
Good point.
And then it goes, like, okay, so you can't find plumbers, or you can't find HVAC techs. Cool. How much time? And then I associate it with this. So it's like, if it's really your biggest challenge, what are you doing to kind of counterbalance that? Real entrepreneurs understand the value of team and how to build that team is the main driving force if you want to grow. If you don't like people and you don't want to manage a team, don't get into business. Yeah,
because you made a point saying that you could be the leader of this team and then just hiring whoever because you just want to make as much money and get as many contracts as possible. But if you aren't cohesively all working together, at some point you're going to start getting complaints. You're going to start kind of getting bad reviews. Things aren't always going to work in your favor. So it's smart to do the research at the beginning to know that you have a nice group of people that are working behind you in any job that you're doing, in any type of entrepreneurial setting, I would say.
Yeah, a lot of people do the, like, whether you do personality tests or color tests on how to manage people before you get in. Our team, we are doing this, so be prepared for this. Yeah, because you don't realize, like, sometimes even as a team leader, like, I want to motivate or train people the way I expect it. Like, sometimes, like, I'm a very hands-off manager because I don't like to micromanage. I expect you to know, and then I have to regroup myself, even with an administrator or a salesperson. But I need to be able to do it in a way that you're going to find benefit out of. So there's a lot of, like you said, if you don't hire them and structure it right, you'll spend more time putting out fires than you will be making successful people. I like what you said even about putting the time into it, because I mean, in our business too, like lead generation, I don't care, you could sell plumbing services, you could sell Christmas trees, you could sell houses. At the end of the day, we're all in the same business, and it becomes lead generation, right? How do you get more people to find out about your business? And it's the one thing that everybody hates doing. You don't want to cold call, you don't want to door knock, you don't want to be on video, you don't want to do a podcast, you don't want to do this. I just want to sit here and wait for the phone to ring. That doesn't work for any business. You have to put the time into it, and it's the hardest. I want abs, but I don't want to give up pizza. Well, my trainer's like, Alex, I can't help you.
No pizza for breakfast.
You know what I mean? Drink more water. I don't know.
It's like the classic, like every company should be a marketing company first.
Yes.
And if you can, again, whatever you do, make it sexy, make it a lifestyle, make it a brand. If you can make your company a marketing company first, and you always put that, you're not just marketing for new clients, but new staff.
Yeah.
Right? So what's it like to work there? Trust me, if you have a good attitude or you project something that talks about how great your team is, your clients are going to see that and say, oh, wow, they must have a really great team because they seem really happy.
Keep telling us.
Look at that. Keep telling me how happy. Everyone's so excited.
I love happy people.
It's the bubbly podcast over here.
So now, Alex and I wanted to know, because we were talking about you starting your own business, especially during COVID, you started a new business doing your HVAC now. Were you nervous about that decision, or do you find, like, especially during a time where a lot of businesses were shutting down, Are you a risk taker? Did you feel that there was a severe risk in opening that up, or was it a smooth transition for you?
Yeah, no, it's good. Like, probably the last 2 years I've done a lot of self-reflection. Probably the last 3 years I've been working on personal development as like a forefront. And I've realized that, you know, the big thing is it's like, okay, why am I feeling this way? Why do I have fear? And then you realize, okay, this is just that thing again that's like just knocking on the door saying, you know, oh my God, I'm scared. So I always used to say, when I went out on my own, people would ask me like, oh, aren't you like scared or terrified or whatever? And I go, you know, my mom, her name's Wendy. And I go, guys, this is the worst case scenario. I lose everything. I go bankrupt. I have a bed at my mom's house in the basement.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be on the
Great
street.
to live with.
And she loves me. I was like, worst case scenario,
When you put
right?
it that
and
way.
then you go, could I really see myself living in my mom's basement again, having sandwiches every day? I was like, sandwiches every day, yeah. Living in my mom's basement, there's no way.
Not so much.
And then you just kind of make it work. And then, you know, identifying fear with kind of like understanding like kind of the why. It can be a huge motivator. It can also be a challenge because you're constantly pushing yourself. And pressure is where I do best. Not everybody's in the same boat, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs thrive under pressure. So I find the challenging thing is when you're really doing well and the pressure's off a little bit, how do you kind of keep that pressure on? So what I usually do is something stupid and drastic and probably not thought through too much. And that's where I just keep doing that. So I've kind of, in the last couple of years, I've really worked on that. So stop opening salad bars and
Stop chasing
like
the
that.
shiny
I was
object.
gonna say,
Yeah.
the salad bar is coming.
You can take the risk, but you can't take 10 risks at once.
Yeah.
So.
And then
Calculated risk.
there's a lot of things they talk about in the flywheel. So if there's a couple books that if you're listening, you'll understand. But keeping it within your flywheel. So say you're in real estate, you want to get into staging, you want to get into sales. Keeping that within your flywheel of businesses that make sense, then they're aligned, is a really good tactic to kind of keep that shiny object in touch. But you're not going too far on your comfort zone.
And it's easy to transition your customers from one, like, I love the fact that you've combined plumbing and heating and air. How many times do we have clients that say, hey, we need trades on this, and we're sending out 7 different names. Why can't we just send one in-house name?
You can do it all.
That just makes sense. Real estate, okay, we're selling rental properties. It should also provide property management services. It should have, the home
Staging,
renovation improvements, whatever they
everything,
need, because we started saying that.
Not a salad bar.
Not a salad bar. Well, you
You can have juices. Juice bars always do well.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess.
Keep your plumbing lines.
owner
You keep your
operator.
plumbing lines
Yeah.
clean with your juice.
Plumbing lines, yeah.
Your internal plumbing.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so now that we've said that, like, what's next for you? Like, you started a podcast. I thought he also had a food blog, but it was just your business page that you have like had these amazingly done up posts about different restaurants in Hamilton. I know you are an avid Hamilton foodie. So where do you see yourself next? Like, do you feel that you need to have all these multiple touch points as an entrepreneur, and especially in a small business, or are these passion projects that you said, you know what, I've got time and I like doing this. I like chatting with people. What's next for you?
Yeah, so we're big community advocates. What we can do to give back. I feel very fortunate to be able to be, I call it the facilitator. So I'm not, when we do our charity donations or we're doing a coat drive or we're doing a food donation, like, we're just facilitating it. That to me is one of the best things we've ever done as an organization. So we try to kind of accelerate that now. So we're actually going to be doing it's Earth Month or Earth Day in April. So we actually thought, how many people have been on the Bruce Trail this year, especially in the winter, kind of getting out and that. So we're actually doing a Bruce Trail walk to clean up the community. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so stuff like that where it's like, it's low cost to people. You just have to come and clean up garbage. But it's like you're cleaning it up in your community. And this is like one of the most walked trails.
Yeah.
But it's the most walked trail in Hamilton. And it gives everybody an opportunity that might not have an organization that they can volunteer at, or they don't have, a bunch of friends to get coats from. So if we can be that facilitator, that's really what drives us. And as a team, we just kind of work together with like coming up with new ideas of how to give back. And it's not always monetary, like, especially during COVID, people asking for money is not, in my opinion, not the right thing to do. And any entrepreneur can talk for them. We don't have a lot of money. It's usually reinvested in the businesses or whatever. I mean, people might not believe that, but that's how, like, That's how I feel I can give back. My time, my energy, my focus, my resources that we put so much time and finances into as a business, which is great. There's no better feeling. I don't care who you are or what you buy. There's no better feeling than giving back and helping other people.
And it's true, like helping the community that helps you, because I'm assuming a lot of your business is local.
Oh, it's all local. Like if people didn't make the decision to call us instead of somebody else, and I mean, there's phenomenal plumbers in the city. There's so many other companies that do a great job. And, I mean, it's awesome to have such a high standard within the community of plumbers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's great actually, like kind of changing some of the older times, which is like we're a very tight-knit plumbing community, which is awesome. Yeah. We support each other. We share each other's posts. We share each other's organization days, whatever we're doing. So it's really cool to see a community come together and kind of give back to the people that allow us to come into their homes. Trust us to change their water, as you guys know, can cause some big damage. So they take some risk on who they call on, and creating an opportunity for my staff to kind of be employed is all based on the community.
Now, do you find, because Alex and I, we do a lot of business within Hamilton, Burlington, smaller communities, do you find that doing business in a small community is easier versus being in a larger city?
I don't think it matters. I think everything's at scale. Like people were always like, "Oh, it's good that you're not in Toronto." I said, "Well, we're planning to be in Toronto."
You want to expand to go to larger.
Yeah, we're going to get another location, hopefully a Etobicoke area, and we'll support that community with that business.
Yeah, there's just something I find about Hamilton that is very supportive of entrepreneurs and small businesses. I find that anytime a new restaurant opens, everybody collectively on my Instagram feed, I'm seeing them post about it. I'm seeing them hype it up. Same thing with Burlington. People love small businesses. People love supporting small business, and I think it's a cool feature that a small, big town has.
Yeah. No, I think there's no place I'd rather be than Hamilton. Grew up here, giving back here, playing sports here. Whether it was Eastwood Arena, it's like every Saturday morning, or up at Chenault.
Hockey guys all know each other. It's the smallest big town.
Yeah. That's just it. It's the smallest big town.
Yeah, but being the nice thing for us is with Guest Eats, even we're just showcasing some of the restaurants we work for. It's incredible to eat in Hamilton. So being a part of that as from a mechanical standpoint, and, those emergency calls where we saved a dinner rush because we got called in is awesome. So yeah, it's cool.
That's very cool. And I like that you kind of said that, and it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, you'll find your niche, and if you put enough energy into your business and getting the name out there, you could have started in Mississauga. Yeah. Maybe you're here, you have the family and friends, but wherever you go, I think there's business to be made. And even with your competitors, everybody knows 10 realtors. This is not a unique career, right? There's enough business for us to go around. But even Matt said something on your podcast the other day when he said, I don't want all the business. If I had all the business, I couldn't service it.
Good point.
So you kind of, you pick and choose what you can do and don't overwhelm yourself, but support the other ones that are picking up the slack. Like you said, if you can't do a job, I'm sure you can say, you know what, guys, we can't make it there on Saturday or whatever, but I know this other plumber is reputable.
We call them all the time. And like I said, wherever you go, you're a marketing company. You just got to learn how to market there. What do those Mississauga people like? Maybe it's something different than here.
You never know.
Maybe they're weird. I'm not sure, but we'll support them in their energy.
We are very supportive of everybody. So what motivates you, though? We've talked a lot about being an entrepreneur and managing our teams and leadership, but who's taking care of you? What is motivating you?
Wendy.
Wendy's making sandwiches for him when he comes to visit. But yeah, do you, like you said, you mentioned books that you're reading, and we'll try to tag as much of what Dan talks about in this post as we can. If you've got some books that you found that really helped you as an entrepreneur, or not even as an entrepreneur, but we have stressful jobs. So what keeps you calm? How are you allowed to kind of step back and stay chill about things?
Do you guys have another hour?
I know. I was that's a loaded question. That's a loaded piece of toast there.
What do you got there?
So the one thing, and I mean, anybody listening, if you want to take this away, please do, because it's the best thing I ever did. But I take the word stress out of my vocabulary. Anything in a business setting, entrepreneur setting, job setting is stressful. We just stop saying it. It's a terrible word. So we say challenging. So if it's stressful, it's challenging. If it's a stress, it's a challenge. And when you use, we find words have meaning, right? You talk about in middle school. But it's important because it changes your mood. We talked about being hungover on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, are we going to say I'm so hungover I can't move, or I'm excited and I have tons of energy, even though you're cross-eyed trying to walk a straight line.
Trick your mind.
You're gonna trick your mind, and if you actually go into like a medical study, and I'm not a doctor by any means, but when they talk about stress, it's changing your hormone levels. Mm-hmm. So if you can kind of control your mind to manage how you deal with stress or how you deal with challenges, and say, is this an opportunity, or is this like gonna kill me? Yeah. Right? And when someone asks, how was your day? Like if I wanted to say it, it was so stressful today. Everything's stressful.
Yeah.
And when you're a driven person that loves chaos, which is what we do, especially at Guest Plumbing, we're always on the, we're a proactive company, but a lot of things are reacted to challenges or problems or things. So as a business owner, I'm sure you guys know, client going to get closing. There's no financing available. The home inspection came back. Oh my God, what are we going to do? It's like, that's what we said. If every time we got a call that there was a leak.
Yeah.
And that was like when I thought the world was ending when I started business. Like I got a leak call. Oh my God. I'll be there right away. I will drop I'll give me middle of biting dinner on a date. It wouldn't matter. Drop the phone and go. And now it's like, okay, I've learned to manage that. So I don't think it's the fact of like, I always say talk to people that are bigger than you in the sense of like where they've been. But you always see in a successful entrepreneur that's 40 plus, they're usually very calm.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. And so
we say it at our office all the time because they're like, oh my God, what if this happens? I'm like, guys, we're not doing brain surgery.
Yeah.
No one's gonna die. Yeah. Okay, if the house doesn't close today, it'll probably close tomorrow. We'll figure it out, right? Like it's not
problem solving and changing your mindset. I used to be the exact same when I first started. I remember I had a deal that didn't close. I was freaking out, didn't know what to do. My clients, how are they going to eat dinner? What are they going to eat dinner on tonight? Like, it's fine. Send them a pizza. They'll stay in their house and they'll close the next day. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Like you used to freak out at things, but it's all about changing that mindset in a sense, right? To stay calm and problem solve.
Well, and that's a normal reaction to how things work. Like I think if someone told me that 5 years ago, you're full of shit. Like go pound salt. Like it's just not going to happen. But now we're at the point where it's like, okay, this is a constant. But in terms of the motivation, what kind of drives me is identifying that and being self-aware to say, okay, 5 years ago I could never have seen myself where I am today. No chance. Not if you ask me, what's your dream? There's no way I'd be having 30 staff, multiple businesses, on a podcast. There's no way.
Guest on a podcast.
Right? So now it's like, okay, I'm aware of that. I've learned that. That's a skill I have now. So let's now think 5 years forward. What are my goals? What are my dreams? Now I have the ability to learn, to be able to write them down. But then also, you want to put them in context because you got to work them backwards. Mm-hmm. So now we got some pretty ambitious goals. Well, now I gotta get up in the morning. Shit. Right? Shit.
But that's what I say. Like, go bigger because if you fall just short of that, it's probably a lot bigger than you actually expected, right? Like,
so the guy that hits his year-end goals in August, what is he? Is he a rock star or a pussy? Right? Like, come on.
He didn't,
right?
Exactly. He didn't project. He didn't project high enough.
Yeah, he's a pussy.
It's true.
Right? He's not a rock star. If you hit your goals in August, you obviously don't know what to do, right? So
you're really shortening your goal span there.
Yeah, so that's me, and then the consistency and just, I always say there's highs and lows. People say, oh, don't get too high or don't get too low. Fuck that. Like, get really high, ride those highs. Yeah. If you can roll them as much as you can. When you hit a low spot, you hit a bit of depression or you hit a snag, just work on getting out of that faster. That's what I always say.
Training yourself, and like you said, like you read a lot. A lot of people find meditation. Now you're starting to journal. You were talking about, Alex.
Yeah, I just picked up one of those. I decided I needed to write more down of what I want to accomplish. So I find when I do that, even it's a funny thing. I'll say, okay, guys, what property we got to sell this week, and I'll put the address down, and I stick it on a Post-it note on my computer screen, and I look at it every day. And then when it translates, and you're like, I can't believe that's where all my energy was focused. So I said, okay, well, if I did that for more things, then how many more things would I I don't know if it's the secret of the visualization or whatever.
Manifestation.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I bought the 6-minute journal or whatever. So you're supposed to get up in the morning and you check off and say, okay, I need so many minutes of whatever. I'm taking guitar lessons now and then 30 minutes of Peloton, and then here's my big goals for the week and then my goals for the day. And the things that you can accomplish when you're like, you're accountable to yourself even. Like, well, I put down that I had to do 30 minutes of guitar play today. I'm like, ugh, it's like 8 o'clock and I really want to sit on the couch and watch some crap TV and go to sleep. I'm like, no, I would put my 30 minutes in because I'm accountable to myself.
Yeah.
And it feels better. I think it's more mentally stimulating and fulfilling to say, oh, I'm so happy I just did that 30 minutes of guitar. Or I'm so happy I did that 30-minute Peloton ride, versus doing the easy thing and just sitting on the couch and watching TV, because it is nice to relax, but you will feel better if you do something to stimulate your mind and challenge yourself.
Totally, yeah. That self-accountability is huge. Like, I mean, however that can be, forced, like I always say before you can outsource it, you have to do it to you. So like if you're gonna, like if the only reason you're gonna go to the gym is because you're paying a trainer, you're not gonna go to the gym that day the trainer's not there.
Yeah.
So work on just going.
Yeah.
Just going yourself. You will see those benefits. Once you go yourself, you can go 5 days a week, and then you get the trainer. Awesome. Your trainer's going to take you to a whole nother level. I think it's the same with business and coaching, right? I actually just hired we have a team coach this year. It's a Tech Canada. So it took me 5 years to build the confidence to say, you know what, I'm accountable to myself first. Mm-hmm. Now let's take that to the next level. So I joined that this year. It's been phenomenal. I would highly recommend it to anybody in terms of like kind of taking your business to the next level. Mm-hmm. But and this sounds pretty tough, but like if you need someone to wake you up in the morning, you're not an entrepreneur. If you need someone to be paid to tell you to be accountable to yourself, you're not an entrepreneur. You can be a rock star at a lot of things, but you're not an entrepreneur.
That's the nitty gritty.
So I guess the 5 a.m. crew, if you're not up at 5 a.m.,
it doesn't need to be 5 a.m. Like I know a lot of people that work later at night. I don't know a lot of successful people that do it. But that being said, it's that accountability. It's the fact that at 9 o'clock at night I'm going to go not have drinks because it's got to be up at 5. It is what it is. If you want those results, it's just like, there's so many different. I'm not a morning person. I never will be.
Yeah.
But I get up.
But you do, because I see it on his Instagram. He's working out at what, 5 or 6 a.m.?
We're 5:30 now. But yeah, like. It's whatever you're gonna, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm definitely not. But it's that's my goal, and that's what I strive for. And it's just that hard press, again, this isn't for everybody. And it doesn't mean that you won't be successful. I know tons of very successful people that don't do that don't have that drive. But in my opinion, they're holding back from what they could.
They could be more successful. And there's a theme. You'll see that with company leaders, everybody. There's a thirst for knowledge, the reading. Like I've never met someone, and like you said, you always try and surround yourself with people who are doing better than you, right, to reach goals. But if you start and you'll figure it out on the podcast, or if you start talking to more people, the amount of people that are super successful that read everything, every book, podcast is the new thing, right? Now we want to, less people are reading, now they're listening again. The thirst for knowledge to grow and learn and all this, and get up in the morning and have a regimented workout. There's a very common denominator in a lot of successful people. Yeah. And I think doing all those things, they're not fun. I'm not a morning person either. I don't want to get up. I don't want to exercise. I want to eat the pizza. I want to I don't love to read. I'm not it's really hard for me. I'm not a love of, I love learning things, but I'm a visual or audible learner. So that's what I've gotten into podcasts, or I got this app now. It's called Headway, and I take it out for a walk. And it reads you the books in at a Cliff's Notes version. So in 30 minutes, I can listen to a 12-chapter book about, and they're all business related. But I figure if I'm learning something, I'm growing in some way, right?
It's true. And I do. I ask Alex so many questions. I'm like, you just know so much. And she says, I read. I investigate everything. I ask questions about things. And I think that is something, even to take away from this, ask more questions. Sometimes I think people are nervous to ask questions because they might feel it comes across as stupid or you don't know the answer. But what do you say? You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know.
Ask more questions. Yeah. You're only going to grow from that. So I just wanted to get a little rapid fire because I did say I would mention and tag some of the things that you were talking about. So, book, what are you reading right now?
Good to Great by Jim Collins.
All right. Podcast. Who is your go-to? What are you listening to?
Ed Milet right now is phenomenal, depending on what you want to hear from. And if you want to be a great marketer, Gary Vee is fantastic. Mm-hmm.
Favorite Hamilton spot for brunch and for dinner?
You got me on
no hard feelings restaurants.
Yeah. Oh, well, dinner's got to be Souvlaki right now. They're just little sleeper there. Yeah. Yeah, they got you with the seafood. And brunch place, probably Sammy's in Ancaster.
Oh yeah, an old school one.
Yeah.
They have the Mickey Mouse pancakes. I love those.
Yeah. You always get a smile at the thumbnail.
That is a great interview.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having
I
me.
want to drop off a cigar. Favorite cigar?
True.
This is your new thing,
you do,
right?
yeah.
Alec Bradley.
Oh, okay, come on. It's my own initials.
Alex is our cigar girl.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, so I see that all the time now, and I'm like, oh gosh, okay, we'll have to take you out for a cigar for thanking you for doing this.
Oh, my pleasure.
Awesome. Everybody, Dan Guest Plumbing and Heating and Guest Eats and Guest Podcast. Check him out, listen to him.
All around good guy.
All around, that's our theme for today, all around good guy. Other than that, we'll see you next time with more Behind Closed Doors. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.